joined service. Then I didn't come back from there. I lived in California for 42 years. So my history is not there until 1990. So there's a big gap for Fort Worth.
Okay.
So mine is just from up to a teenager.
Okay, I'm glad you told us that.
Yeah, because
And it was from what years?
I left here in 48
Okay, up to about 90.
and returned in 1990.
Okay. We can start recording. Oh, we're recording already. Sorry, I didn't know we were already. Okay. Today is October 17th, 2015. This is Moisés Acuña-Gurrola with the Civil Rights and Black and Brown Oral History Project at Northside High School with the Latino Americans 500 Years of History Oral History Project. So, Mr. Gutierrez, you started telling us a little bit about your life already. So can you tell us your parents' names, when and where you were born?
Okay, my folks were from Chihuahua, Mexico. They moved from Juarez into El Paso in those early years, and they came from El Paso, they came to Fort Worth around 1916. When I look at the reason they came from El Paso to Fort Worth, my dad worked for the railroad as a porter, and then they gave him a choice to go to California or come to Fort Worth, and she chose Fort Worth. That's why we all ended up here in Fort Worth. And the whole family was born in Fort Worth. And we all came to Northside High School, like that. So we had a family member in California, in high school, which is Northside High, from the late 30s until about 1952, except a gap for a year or so here and there. But from that time until 1952, around there, we had somebody here in Northside High. My oldest sister graduated from the old Northside High School, which at the time now, when I was in school, it used to be Pascal High School. I'm sorry, they're in Pascal now. It used to be Tech, on it like that. And then my second sister graduated from the first class in 1938 or 39 from the original high school here in Northside, which is the old building. That's all that was here when all of us came here, on it like that. And so, like I say, I was born and raised right there on 23rd and Commerce, on it like that. That's at the other end of the block from Joe T's restaurant. And our church used to be across 22nd Street, which was the Methodist Church.
What was the name of it?
What is it?
What was the name of the church?
The name of the church, at the time they call it, let me see if I get it, Iglesia Primera Metodista, which translates to First Methodist. And while I was gone, I think about when, I guess you can call integrated the churches, then it couldn't become First Methodist because they couldn't budge and make the First Methodist change their name, so we changed our name to La Trinidad, on it like that, which is down there, on it like that. And that became probably in their middle 50s, I guess, because when I went to California, then they had the same problem over there as about having the Spanish-speaking churches, Methodist churches, and the English-speaking. And then they also became changes. So the church I went to in California was El Getsemani, which is one of the places where Jesus Christ went to. They have to say, oh, that's where he went the last night that he spent before he was crucified. But it was the same size, exactly the same size of our church here in Fort Worth. When I stepped into that church, it seemed like I was stepping into the Fort Worth church, because it was almost exactly the same size and the same people on there like that. So I was really like at home there.
What city?
Santa Ana, California. Okay. I was stationed in the base El Toro, which is about 11 miles outside of Santa Ana.
Okay.
that's why I went to the church. Needless to say, it took me about 2 years to get to the church. The wife always kids me, "Oh, you those are 2 years." Well, you know what happens when you go into service, when a young man joins the service, gets all that freedom. But I didn't do anything really bad.
So, tell me about your brothers and sisters. Did they all stay in Fort Worth?
All the families here in Fort Worth. My oldest sister passed away right after she graduated from Northside High. And that was like probably about 39, something like that. I was too young to really remember the date. But it was like about 38 or 39. She was about 21 years old when she passed away. So then there was only the 4 boys and the 2 girls left. And we all came here to Northside.
Nobody else left though. You're the only one who left.
No, well, my 2 oldest brothers left also for the Marine Corps during World War II. See, and I didn't join until 1948. There was nothing going on until the Korean War started. And so I met my wife while I was there, and she was going to the church too, the same church as where I met her. So when I got out, we already know we were going to get married, so we stayed there. So we just celebrated our 65th birthday anniversary, marriage anniversary, a couple of years ago, something like that. And we married, and we had that anniversary right in the same church where we came here on the honeymoon, not come here in the morning, but we spent about a week here after the honeymoon. And then the pastor presented us to the church, and we stood right on the same spot where we had our anniversary, right there, almost right at the altar on it like that, almost the same. After 65 years, we're still there in the same church on it like that. And now we started going to the same church when we came here, like that, doing it. But yeah, all the family just still here. And my brother Gilbert had a jewelry shop right there on Central, like that. So all his business were people from Northside High. At the time that we were born and raised here in the neighborhood, that whole neighborhood lived on the east side of Main Street. And after the World War II, right after the boys came back, we were buying homes and moving out of the neighborhood into Northside, like that. And we were about I don't know, maybe about the first or second family that moved out of like that. And we lived right there in Exchange and Clinton, which is right on top of the hill from the Stockyards Exchange Street. Like that. That's where we lived. Exchange and Clinton, like President Clinton.
The reason, I was curious. There's somebody I'm trying to learn more about in South Texas, and his name is Amador Gutierrez. And I was wondering if maybe saw the name.
That's my dad's brother name is Amador, so my brother is Amador Jr., like that. So whether you were talking about my dad or my brother, I don't know.
It would have probably been your brother.
Yeah, probably been my brother, right.
Did he?
He was at the time, he is about 6 years older than I am, like that. And so he'll be about 92, right in the area. He's still living, like that. He lives with his daughter, Celia Esparza.
Did he live in South Texas?
Oh no, I'm sorry, not in South Texas. I should have been checking. No, we all lived here.
Okay.
And my dad never lived in South Texas.
Okay.
Because, like I say, he moved here from El Paso.
Right. Okay. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Because I saw Amador Gutierrez, and there's somebody I'm trying to learn more about. His name is Amador Gutierrez, and he was in the Marines, and he was in South Texas, and he did a lot of work in there that I'm really. Yeah. But I thought maybe you never know, right?
It might be another Amador that lived down there if you heard it.
Yeah.
But my oldest brother, he's the one that they might have been referring to. If you were talking about him here.
Yeah. No.
Okay.
It was down there. Okay. So tell me about, so I want to ask about your parents. When did they come over?
Around 1916. Okay. The reason they came is because he worked for the railroad, okay, and he was, I guess, a porter or whatever he was, but they gave him a choice because they had to make some changes. The railroad was going to make some changes, and they gave him a choice to go to California or come to or to Fort Worth, Texas. So there was a reason he came. That I hear that he came to Fort Worth is because he believed a lot in La Llorona, which I know you probably heard about La Llorona, and that there were spooks in California. So he said, "I'll go to Fort Worth." I mean, that's what I heard. I don't know if it's
I
true
thought
or
La
not.
Llorona originated in Texas, no?
Well, that's what I said.
Yeah.
I said, but he came to Fort Worth. I mean, he too also like that. No, you don't know. I think it's probably in Fort Worth, not in Fort Worth, but in Texas.
Yeah.
They kind of transferred over to California.
Mm-hmm.
But they say beyond the Llorona, there were a lot more over in California. So he came to Fort Worth.
Oh.
So I don't know if it's true or not, but you know how stories go. You know,
Yeah.
and again. But no, we lived in Fort Worth. We lived there on the north side, like I say, on 23rd and Commerce, and we stayed there till we moved up to California. I still know in my youth I never played golf, but until I came back to Fort Worth, I started playing golf because I was pretty active with the church. And then, so I said, well, if I'm going to go see my friends, I guess I'll have to go play golf because we all play golf. So when I started playing golf right there in Rockwood, there were about, anywhere from 3 to 4 foursomes of the old folks, of the old friends, Mm-hmm. And in fact, I think you interviewed, if you did, Mike Ayala.
I didn't. Maybe someone else here. Yes.
No. And he was playing, he was one of the playing. He's still playing out of all those. I think he's the only one that's still playing. Mm-hmm. We're all pretty old. I'm 87 years old, so he's about 88, something like that, 80, almost 99. He's about 2 years older. Only like that.
Did your parents, when they came, did the revolution, in the Mexican Revolution, have anything to do with that?
When I went to El Paso, it was going on,
okay.
Like that. So that might have been the reason he moved from Chihuahua to El Paso, or to Juarez. I'm sorry. He moved to Juarez because that's where he went to Juarez. And he, like I say, he lived there for quite a while until around 1915, 16, when he moved across the river into El Paso. So he might have moved the reason of the revolution, because that's where Pancho Villa was, from Chihuahua, on it like that. So I guess he didn't want to get too involved in that, I guess, so he was already married. So he left and went to Juarez. Then he stayed there for, I don't know, 6, 7 years, and then he decided to come across into El Paso. Mm-hmm. And then he stayed there to 1916, and then came to Fort Worth, on it like that.
So about your childhood, tell me what the neighborhood looked like.
Well, the north side was kind of divided in two sections, north and south. The reason I say that is because there used to be a little creek, and the M.G. Ellis Elementary School was built right next to the creek, right there on 14th Street, I think. And there was a red building that was built around 1905, 1908. Okay. That's where we all went to. So we all went to there, but around 1940, in 1941, they closed it, and we went, the ones that lived on the north side of the school went to Circle Park, which is now Manuel Jara, Circle Elementary School. Then the ones that lived on the south side of the school went to Denver Elementary School. So they divided us into two schools. That's why some of us went to Circle Park, they called it at the time. It was right across from J.P. Elder, where the old new school is built. When they're built a little bit off the ground, what used to be a playground for us in Circle Park. And then we graduated into Elder, and the one that went to Denver went to also Elder. And that we, all the old ones met again. But we used to play together, and used to play with softball teams and football teams. We used to play the North against the South, something like that, all of us, Until we got older, then we would play football and baseball and everything together. But at that time, it was, it's a real North and South battle, really, and it like that. And it was fun. We really enjoyed it. We used to play in the grounds there in MGLS until we got older. Then we started playing baseball and softball and together. We used to have teams that used to play, and we'd play Dallas. Well, the softball team, when we were small, we used to play Southside and La Corte, which translates to courthouse. That used to be around Bluff, right between Main Street and where all those, TCC downtown is. That's where we used to go down and play, and like that. And then the south side, we used to play behind St. Joseph High School, and like that. Then we used to play at Bryant Street, on it, like a different place. We used to have all that fun on it like that. But as we got a little, then we got older. Because when I left, I played 2 years with the Aztecas baseball team at the neighborhood, and like that. Not going Fort Worth and like that. So then the Aztecas, we used to go to different parts of Fort Worth. I mean, South Texas. We used to go to New Braunfels, Austin, and Del Rio, and San Angelo, Wichita Falls, Cisco. We used to travel quite a bit on that Azteca team. And that Azteca team, it used to be, because my dad used to have the, what they call the acheros, he's a merchant, something like that. And then he had the acheros, they used to call it, which woodsmen of the world. Like that, that's what they call them, but in Spanish, they're acheros.
And that's a union? Is that a union?
It's not a union. It's just kind of I don't know what you call it, a club-like, like that, like an insurance, I think. It used to be Woodmen of the World, like that. And in Spanish, translated to the acheros. They used to have, I know my godfather used to have a sword and a uniform and everything, like a like a soldier, like that. And that's what he was. And he was, I don't know, kind of an officer or something in it, and like that. And my dad used to have the acheros, and I don't know who had the Aztecas, and they used to play against each other, like that. But then my dad left the acheros, just formed a team and let it go. Then the Aztecas just kept on going on it like that.
Okay. I misunderstood. Okay, so, but was your father part of any other, because he worked for the railroad, right?
The what?
Your father worked for the railroad.
Yeah.
Was he in a union?
But no, I don't know if he had the union then, in that time, or like that. But the reason he quit is because they had a baby, and one of the trips, by the time he came back, the baby had died, had pneumonia, or like that, because it got real cold. I don't know if you're from Fort Worth or not, but we do get cold weather, not real bad. I mean, real bad sometimes. Because my mom always says that Lake Worth was frozen when I was born, like that. And the sayings are that those Model Ts, which is not too heavy, could go on the Lake Worth, on it like that. And that's the only time it really has gotten frozen on it like that. On it. But that's the reason he quit. He said no more, because there was no way his mom could get a hold of him or anything. So when he came back, he found out the baby had died, like that. So he quit. But I don't think unions were there at the time. Like that. So maybe they were, or maybe they're not. Yeah.
About the The neighborhoods, was there paved streets? Was there running water,
Okay,
electricity?
again, now, when the north side got formed, I understand it used, where we lived on the north side, it used to be a Greek place, a neighborhood. And I guess they worked at the packing plant, but it used to be for Greeks, and like that. Then folks started moving in there from Mexico, and so the Greeks started moving out, only like that. So when we were born, I mean raised, and we were kids, there were two Greek families left. One of them lived across the street from us, and one of them lived down there by the creek, Marine Creek, which crosses 23rd Street. A Greek family used to live there, only like that. They both of them spoke Spanish pretty well, only like that, because they associated with us, only like that. Especially the one across they lived across the street from us, only like that. And because the younger one always played with us. The older ones, they associated, but not that much as he did. Was naturally playing ball and all that. He played with us ball. So he picked up Spanish, boom. He could speak Spanish just like us, like that. Like one time, he asked my brother, he was about the age the same as my the second oldest brother. He asked my brother, Beto, his name is Gilbert, but he just used to Beto. He said, could you ask your mama to give me a hot tortilla with butter in it? So man, he could speak Spanish just like that, just like us, you know. So he had a construction building, and sometimes when he hired, the braceros at that time, or whatever it was, that worked for me, he said they would start talking about him. He'd tell them, no hablen de mí, porque yo entiendo español. And their eyes would get about that big. They thought they were going to get fired for talking about him, but he got a kick out of it.
Um, what was I going to ask? Oh, sorry. Were you a member, by chance, of the American GI Forum?
No, I never did join that. That was something that was going on at the time I was just gotten out of the service on it like that. That was going on real strong on it. But the only one I was involved with was Cesar Chavez.
Okay.
With his home out in California. But the GI Forum, the Brown Beret, and all that, and I didn't get involved with them on it like that. But I know they were there, and then when I was involved with Cesar Chavez on it like that, when he was, at the time he was going pretty strong also on it.
With the farm workers?
Farmer case. In fact, we were just talking out there in the dining room about the movie McFarlane. Like that it's a movie of runners. Cosner is a leader on it like that. There were runners there in McFarlane, which is a little bit about 30 miles outside of Bakersfield in California. And he coached that like that. The reason he coached him because he saw him running when he was going to his school. His coach, he had transferred there to McFarlane, and he would see those boys running up and down, So he thought, hey, maybe we can form a little league. So he formed them on it like that. The movie on it like that. There's a program out on TV about that, on it like that. They're saying with the boys and McFarlane and all that. They make a movie. They make that movie McFarlane.
About Cesar Chavez, did you march? Did you participate in any of the marches?
I didn't get to mark on it like that, but I got involved when McGovern was running. That's the one I got involved because we used to get together in an old abandoned house. It was empty, and like that, we used to have candle lights, and like that, because the house was empty. So we used to have candles for light, and like that, and whatever we could eat, as family, like that, get tacos or whatever we eat there while we were making plans for it. And for yet we recruited voters on it like that. We'd go out and vote on it like that. But to get out and march, no, I didn't get to that. But then we had an office there in Santa Ana, California. We had our own office for go out and recruit. And then another group had the union at that time. They had their own office on it like that. But we kind of more or less strictly on neighborhood, Spanish-speaking neighborhoods that we recruited. And like that. But the problem we had with that, and it still goes on, is that we would register them, but we couldn't get them out to vote on it like that. But when my wife ran for a school board, and she ran the first time, she got defeated the second time, and then she ran again the second time, and then like that. But the third time that we ran and we won, we got involved with the African American group because they had their own group too. So we ran together on it like that.
What group was that?
I don't know what they call themselves on it like that, but it was African American. We know that the man that ran with my wife is Jesse Berry on it like that. And we ran and we won that. But second time we couldn't get. The reason that Santa Ana at that time had about a neighborhood that was pretty strong, and they had about 3,000 votes, and generally about 5,000 votes would win an election there at that time, on it like that. So those 3,000 votes, they just about voted every time, and like that. So, but we won that first time. The second time we couldn't, and that was that problem that we had, and it still goes on. You know, they can register them, but to get them out and vote, forget it. You know, it's hard.
Yeah. Are you familiar with the single shot method?
No.
It's a voting strategy.
No.
I was wondering if maybe your wife and Mr. Berry.
Mr. Berry
may have pushed for that, but that doesn't sound familiar.
No, that was no. But see, this was like it was way back in the 70s in Santa Ana, on there like that. But no, I don't know what they call their neighborhood on it. Like, I mean, their group on it like that. But we planned together and everything, how we're going to run everything like that, and doing it. But she was involved. She had a hard time in the school board. That time, you know, the racial problem is pretty strong on it like that, doing that, like that. But we won the first time, and second time we lost by a little bit. But the third time we won, like that, and doing it. But we, like I say, that also that came about because I getting involved with Cesar Chavez, and like that. They said we should run too, like that and that. But then I had a brother-in-law that was really, really involved with Cesar Chavez on it like that, because especially for Christmas, he would take, and he was running the U.S. rubber or whatever union.
Rubber workers.
Like rubber workers. He was there in California. He was the president running, and then he would take them for Christmas. Other than to get involved during the year, he would for Christmas he would take a lot of toys and stuff up to Batista. That's where the little town out of San Jose, California. That's where the Cesar Chavez offices were, headquarters on it, along with the name Huerta, like that. I forgot her last name. She's Dolores Huerta. And we came about, when we were in Santa Ana, California, we had a young man that went through the Santa Ana district and Fullerton district, and then he went to Santa Cruz, and we lost contact with him. And we just came in contact with him this last summer, or no, September, and we got involved with him. And he became a professor, but we didn't know what happened to him.
What's his name?
Luis Vega.
Okay. And what's your brother-in-law who worked for the rubber workers?
Antonio Rodriguez. He was the president of the union at that time there.
And what's your wife's name?
His wife's name?
Your wife's
My name? Cordelia. It was Rodriguez, but it's Gutierrez now.
Okay.
And then he knew Cesar Chavez. I never met Cesar Chavez, like that. I never get the chance to meet like that. But we were involved. Like I got involved with. I forgot his last name, but his name Rodolfo. He was in charge of the one to vote or get a registration for Cesar for McGovern. Needless to say that I was still canvassing, getting voters to go out and vote because they hadn't voted. At that time, we could, in California, I don't know if you can still do it now, but they would list the people that had voted, and if their name was on it, they hadn't voted, we'd go out and try to get them to vote. Like that. Mm-hmm. But we see, I'll go after a little while, but they never would show up. That was a problem that we had on it like that.
How far was the polling station from their home?
It's just close, maybe about 6, 7, 8 blocks, like 10 blocks. It's all front, just like here. Like where I vote now, it's right there about same distance, about 7 or 8 blocks. Only like that. We live in Oakhurst, only like that. It's right here on the east side, Riverside area, and the voting area was voting. Where we vote is in the elementary school, the Oakhurst Elementary School. And there was, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 blocks from where we voted. It's still the same area. They don't go out to vote, like that. Yeah. And now they're thinking it might be a little better now, get them out to vote, like that. Now, if the problem with the African American have the same problem, they can get them out to vote. I don't know that part. But when we got them out to vote at that time, we had a hard time getting them out to vote, just like the Mexican people, like that.
Yeah.
But now I think they're a little more involved into voting on it like that.
There's a lot I can ask you about right now.
Go ahead. I got all the time in the world.
It's 12:27.
Talking about being involved with Joe T's restaurant, it started Joe T's. It used to be a little, right in the corner, used to be a little ice cream cone store, parlor. We used to get ice cream right there, like that. Then they closed and told it was empty for a while. Then Joe T bought it, Joe T Garcia. His real name is Joe T Garcia. And I remember he started as a barbecue place. I was maybe about 8, 9 years old, 8 years, and he was building the pit on it outside, right outside of the old building. And I don't know if you ever been to Joe T's restaurant, no. And he was building that pit, and I used to help him, hand him a brick and all that stuff, But then he found out that people kept asking him. They used to come. He said, "How come you don't serve Mexican food?" So it's got so many of them that were asking for that. He said, "Well, maybe I better start serving Mexican food." And that's when he became a Joe T's restaurant, Mexican food on it like that. Mm. The old sign is still up there in front of the corner like that, hanging up there and doing it. And that's where we went to church, right across the street on 2nd Street. But it became very popular. A lot of golfers used to go there. I guess they still go on it like that. There, when they used to come to the Colonial, a lot of golfers used to go there to the restaurant. They still go, I'm sure. A lot of businessmen too. They became very popular like that. But little by little, we all got old, and then the old neighborhood right there where we live on the north side, there's only, I would say there's really maybe about 10 homes at the most. And they used to be like 1, 2, 3 blocks deep and about 3 blocks deep, that's how big, but there's no homes. Part of that was the one they call a Pujido section, that probably closed. You can't go in there in the back on it like that. So there's only 2 blocks there. That's okay. I'll drop it all the time.
I wanted to ask you a couple more questions before we wrap up. At 12:30. So, did you ever meet Hector Garcia?
Who?
Hector P. Garcia?
Joe P.
Hector.
Hector Garcia?
Mm-hmm.
P. Garcia? No. Who is he?
The doctor from Corpus Christi, American
Oh,
GI Forum.
is he the one that made the that book? A man that went to University at TCU, and he made the book of the barrios in
No,
Fort Worth.
I don't.
I don't know.
I mean, it could maybe, but I'm not sure.
See,
About that.
when he was going to TCU, he's got involved with. He didn't go for this particular thing, but he got involved in hearing, and he got heard about the barrios that we had. Because we had North Side, which was the largest, South Side, the TP, which is over there where all those railroads are. That's why they call it TP on there like that. And then there was La Corte, which is right there on. It used to be on Bluff Street. It used to go behind the old jailhouse down, like on the bluff on it like that. Which Bluff Street is still over on the east side. That runs along the river, which is down, becomes Samuels Avenue. It's an old neighborhood, Pioneer Place. That's the old Pioneer, where a lot of the pioneers there lived in Fort Worth on there like that. And that's on Samuel. And my wife was a counselor there for a while on that Nash Elementary School on there like that. Yeah. But no, I never met him on there like that.
He was the founder of the GI Forum.
What is it?
He was the founder of the American GI Forum.
Oh, well, no, then I never met him on it.
Because I know, I guess he was organizing a little bit with California to do the marches here in Texas.
Right.
South Texas.
Like that.
So
the marches were a lot stronger here in Texas than they were in California. But they did have a few of them over there, but like the GI Forum, the Brown Parade, I think it was
in
called.
Dallas, yeah.
Dallas. We had it over there in California too, on it like that. But I went to a couple of meetings of them and like that, but no, I didn't quite get involved on that. Okay. I was too involved, I guess, with the family, which some of them were too, but I guess I never did get involved with them.
Yeah.
Like that.
So I guess you would have been gone by this point, but the Methodist Church, was it active in, I guess, community, like activist stuff? Was it trying to bring improvements?
I don't think so. I don't think so, and like that, doing it. Like, the reason we got involved, but it wasn't through the church. It was outside of the church, on it like that. I think most churches were kind of not that much into that, on like that. But because when we came back in 1990, it was, the church had closed where we went, and they moved to Gould and Northside Drive. See, and at that also, like I said, we weren't involved with anything like that, so it wasn't really involved in politics and stuff like that. They kind of left, I guess they left the politics to something else. But to get involved like that, as my brother, like that, they thought more about politics also than the church, but it was all outside of the church, like that.
There's something else I'm really interested in learning more about Fort Worth. I want to know more about, what do you remember about pachucos?
Oh, gee, the pachucos, they were something else. They were just as strong in California, but I was here when the pachucos were going on. We used to have a jamaica. They used to call it like a party going at night, you know. They used to be here in North Side. There used to be 2 of them. One of them used to be that pastor had a Catholic church that had broken away from the Catholic church, St. Joseph's, which is right there. Used to be on Commerce and 14th Street, I think. St. Joseph Catholic. And I guess he broke away from the Catholic church. He built his own church on Grove Street, and he used to have the Jamaicas across the street on there. And every Sunday night they used to have them on there like that. And every time the party was going real good, when the pachucos would come down, and then you have to watch it. But he used to say knives and guns would start showing up, because he used to have a band. He built a big platform. It must have been about 25 feet by 30, something like that. He had a stand where he could have about eight or 9 players on it. Like I said, yeah, it used to be a big Jamaica on it like that every Sunday night. But it was safe and everything. They had taco stands, and sometimes a little carnival would come and they bring their little rides on it there. And they was in the late 30s, in the 40s, something like that. Mm-hmm. And we used to go there every time. I used to like to go, but then one time I remember it was going on. Do you mind if I say something about the shootings?
Yeah, no, you go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was sitting there on one side of the bench on it like that, and then we had a pachuco by the name of V8. He was a tough one on it like that. And he came from, they used to have a dance land, used to be on Lancaster. They used to have dances up there too. So he was up there that night up there. They say, ya llegó V8 from dance land. He used to like to make the Jamaicas, especially the ours there. And one time he got involved with another pachuco, and he was running down one side of the platform, and the man he was chasing turned around with a gun and started shooting, and I was on that end, so I'm just kind of looking at him. And the bullets, where they went, I don't know, because they didn't hit anybody else. But he hit that, V8 hit that guy with his gun, shot him. But the guy kept running, like that. Whether they caught him or not, I don't know, like that. But that's something we had to kind of watch, get kind of leery on it like that. But some Michaels were really good. To be truthful, I used to like to go on there and spend the Sunday night and then go home on it like that. But the pachucos, they were always, you heard so much about. And the thing is, there were different gangs on it, like, and not just that one. There was a whole bunch. Seemed like every neighborhood had their own gang. But the north side didn't seem to have any pachucos like that much. We had 2 or 3 guys that were kind of tried to be like pachucos, but they weren't on it like that, doing it. They weren't involved in gang fights like that, on it like that. And the other side, I'm not saying that we were holy, but it seemed like our neighborhood was kind of quiet, like on it like that, and doing it. But I know one time, one of the guys that kind of tried to be a pachuco, by the name of a friend of mine. We were real close, Henry Cuevas. He's the one I joined the Marine Corps with. We went to go for, at the time it used to be the Rose Theater, which became the Marine Theater. Now it's the Rose Theater again. That's what they have. They remodeled it and did it. They have plays and things like that. You know where that is?
No.
No? Well, you get it. And that's the Rose Theater where they have shows they bring on it like that. Like they had the, what's the name of that? Oh boy, skipped my mind. Anyway, he put on the show of the play that La Mancha, on it like that. And it was kind of, I saw that play La Mancha in Hollywood, and but this man had it here not too long ago, maybe about a year ago, and he kind of close to the veterans on it like that. But anyway, it was that, it had the musical part of the Man of La Mancha on it like that. I don't know if you know the Man of La Mancha, that movie. on it like that. But anyway, it was Don Quixote. You might have heard of Don Quixote. That's what they play. Was involved with a man, but he's involved with a windmill on it like that. He was always talking about his windmill on it like that. But he plays like that. They bring down to the theater on it like that. You should check that out on it like that. On it like that. Somebody probably, I'm sure, mentioned it on it like that because they have a lot of plays there, and every once in a while they have a play there, and that's all they have there on it like that. And Mancha, Don Quixote. And it's the Rose Theater, that was open from the north side. Used to have two theaters. The New Isis used to call it, which is in the stockyards. And then the Rose Theater was on the south side, on the south side of the school, elementary school, and like that. So that's why I say it's always the north side and the south side of the north side, like that. But it was a real nice, I say my childhood, I always think it was real nice because we knew everybody in the neighborhood. Because I know, like when I was a kid, wherever I was at dinner time or lunchtime, I could go in there and have dinner or lunchtime with them, with that family on it like that. And my brothers, they felt the same way. And we used to play softball right in front of my house on the street. The south side, you asked me once before, and I think they wouldn't by the roadside. They had paved streets, the south side. We had gravel streets on it like that, doing it. But we all had gravel, and we used to play. I used to ask my dad for Christmas, I said, Dad, all I want is a football. Because we used to play on the gravel road right there in front of the house. Because by the time we got through that season, the end of the football, the tube was sticking out. Like that. So I was the only one to get a football or a softball. And I always had softball teams or football teams on it like that. And so the bats had 1,000 rolled feet of tape and nails through it and everything, like that. But we managed to play softball all the time, And that time, I guess kids families don't have a lot of kids nowadays. In our kids, we could pick 2 softball teams right there in my neighborhood, and we had guys left over. Same thing with softball. We could pick teams, we'd throw that bat, go. I don't know if you ever played that or not. You get to the knob, whoever got the hand, you couldn't get in more to hold it. That was the captain of the team would have first choice, and we choose teams, so we had 9 teams. 9 players, then the other guy chose 9 players, so we had that many, but we had guys left over. So we played with a rover.
Yeah. How did you choose captains football?
I was a captain all the time. I don't know, for some reason I was a leader of the teams on it like that. It was either both softball, baseball. Like one of the guys when I came back from California, he played softball. He was my age on it like that, but he was about 8 months younger than I was. And he had a family. I mean, my wife and I and his brother and a couple other guys. He said, there's the same thing, because how come he was the leader? He said, because you were about the best player there, so I was always the leader, like that. And I, like now I appreciate how they looked at me as a leader. But I wasn't the biggest guy. I was pretty small on there like that. I was pretty small when I was a kid. And in fact, when I was in the 4th and 5th grade, I only weighed, I think, about 65 pounds. I was real small. He said, you were about the best player in the whole thing, so you always wanted to be, you always the captain, and then the other guy was the captain, or like that, and like that. So we had a lot of fun. I mean, our childhood we didn't have any money because that was Depression time. And when I was a little kid, we were right in the Depression time on it like that. And so, like they say, our football, we asked for Christmas, we got whatever we wanted to play during the season, like that. And like I said, we always has not, we never had a new bat like that. And one game that I always remember, we used to play what we call hockey. We used to get a small carnation can, and if mother was looking for her broom handle or whatever, it was gone. It was out there in the streets, and it's amazing. We used to run from 23rd Street to 22nd Street and hit that little can. By the time we got through playing with the can, was just flat, but we would still hit it. And needless to say, we had sore knees and shins and sore feet, ankles. When we hit, we get that sick and hit it, and we just go up and down that block, like that. And that was a long block. I don't know if you ever been to that block or not. I guess you haven't. But it's about, I would say, roughly about 250 yards long. It's a long block. And then at night, we used to have relay teams, We take 400 yards. We run all the way around. We use Commerce and 23rd and Commerce, go up 23rd to Main Street, down to 22nd, back to Commerce. And we stage guys at different sections, and we run at night. It's at night, naturally. We had runners that had, we go around it twice, depending how many kids we had, stations on it like that. And we run that truck twice, 3 times, sometimes, different guys who run it. Mm-hmm. But that's how many kids we had at the time. Then at night, also again, we used to play right in front of this building there on 23rd Street. It had a light right there on the corner of 23rd and Commerce. It had one light, street light, mm-hmm. And we used to play there in the middle of the street. Was the reason that street was busy in the daytime was because of the plants. Swifts and Armours used to be down the road on it like that. And so in the nighttime, maybe 1 or 2 cars would come by, and that was it on it like that. But we used to play up and down on that street on it like that, doing it. But
I wanted to ask a little bit more about the people we have listed here, but we're a little over the time. We're at an hour now. Yeah, we're gonna have to wrap up. But before we do, is there anything you wanted to add before we stop recording?
No. The only thing, like one thing is that like I say, the south side of the neighborhood is still kind of, as far as homes go, it's still pretty full intact. Mm-hmm. For some reason, the north side went kaput on it like that. Like
the freeways, right?
That probably so. I don't know. Well, the freeway, but no, it started going bad before really the freeways on it like that. And but for some reason that ended up. But naturally now there's no history. It more or less become an industrial park. And there's quite a building there on that side, on the south side on it like that. But it just became kind of industrial on it like. And but it's too bad. But we had a real good time. I think we had the childhood, which no money, but at that time we knew who was rich and who was poor, and we were kind of the poor side, like I said, on the wrong side of the tracks, like that. And that's why when the men came back, or the boys came back from World War II, like that, that's when immigration started going on, because then they could buy homes on the west side of Main Street, like that, little by little. But the only part is regret. Like me, one thing that I regret, like I say, is there was a Fort Worth Boys Club, North Fort Worth Boys Club. The thing is, I hate to go into it, but we couldn't join it, like that. We couldn't join. We could play. We get like I say, the teams that we had in the north side, in the neighborhood, we played against the boys that went to the Fort Worth Boys Club, but we couldn't join it on it like that, and doing it. But until after World War II, then. But we used to agitate the lady that was there because I asked my brother, was she still there when you were there? He said she was still there. But we used to agitate her because we used to go, we get 4 or 5 kids. We used to go to the office, the counter there. We want to join. She said, we don't allow Mexican kids in here, but we want to join. It's Fort Worth. She said, no, we don't allow that. So we had to go out. Another week later, we'd go back again. So I don't know how many times we went, but they wouldn't let us join.
Where was did it have a swimming pool there?
No.
No? Okay.
Well, as far as I know, they don't have. They might have an inside pool. There was a marine park is right across the street from there, so there was a pool there.
Okay.
But we didn't go swimming there, not so much because they wouldn't let us, because they would let us go in, but it cost 10 cents.
Yeah.
The only way we could get money is we go down the alleys all up, not here, well, up here, north side. We'll go up the streets and look for copper, brass, metal, and go sell it to there was a junkyard right there on Main Street. They call it Bar 2 on it like that. And we sell it to him on like that. Brass, oh man, we were really happy when we find some copper or brass, especially brass. That would sell about 5 cents a pound, and copper 3 cents a pound. And if he didn't have the insulation, 4 cents a pound. Iron, 2 and 1 cent a pound. He'd buy it all, like that. We just go up and down the alleys to see something in the yard, jump over the fence, and they didn't. If it wasn't close to the fence, they had the use for it. Like that. And sometimes we just go through the trash, not bucket, trash, whatever somebody put in the alley. But at that time, the trash pickup would go down the alleys, like that. So there was a lot of trash back there, so we pick up a lot of stuff there. And so, but it would go, anyway, but we all enjoyed, I did, most of the kids, but we always go and swim. We used to go swimming at the Trinity River. We had right there by, it used to be 12th Street was North Side Drive, but north of there, we had one about 100 yards from there was clay bank. It had a big blank, we used to dive off. We used to make holes to climb up and dive off of it. And then we used to go to Rocky, was maybe about 50 yards down or north of it. There's a Rocky, we used to go there. And then there was an old blue hole, was on the left field of La Gray Field, like that. It ran behind it, but it was too cold, so we didn't go there too much on it like that. Then we used to swim underneath the Trinity River Bridge right there on Northside Drive, University Drive, right there by Rockwood Park, like that golf course. We used to go swimming under that bridge. We used to pick up slugs down at the bottom. For some reason, somebody threw a whole bunch of slugs. We used to go down and pick them up, bring them up, see how many we could bring up during the session there. And then all we did is throw them back in, so we come back some other day and pick them up again, But we enjoyed doing there like that, But we couldn't go swimming at the marine swimming pool. We could go in swimming, but in some way we separated. Well, I'm sure you know why. We separated. We were on the east side. The Anglo kids were on the west side. But we just automatically. Now they said we couldn't go,
Right.
but I guess we were all there. We knew each other there, so that's why we were there on that side. But we could go and dive. We could sometimes swim and play tag all the way across. There was a big swimming pool. It's amazing how small they built the new one here in Marine Park. But that was, I would say roughly, it was kind of oval like. It was about, I would say maybe about 40, maybe 50 yards wide, long.
Wow.
It was a deep one, real long, and like that.
Um,
So if we went over there, nobody would tell us, no, you go to the other side, no. But we could be on the other, both sides there. It was mixed, but we separated ourselves because of who was swimming where, so we knew everybody that was in there. 10 cents was hard to get then, for us anyway.
we're over the time. I wish we can talk more because there's a lot more I want to know about. But I guess thank you for coming and,
Okay,
and
well, I
sharing your story
appreciate
with us.
appreciate being here.
Yeah,
You know,
I learned a
it's-
lot. Yeah, there's just so much more that we can talk about on camera. But
Yeah.
but thank you though.
No, okay. But now, are you from